1. Okay, welcome everybody. Here we are on a Monday. We are in our acupressure yoga class. So that is what we're calling the combination of using your your lotus mat and lotus pillow along with yoga moves that are really designed to make the most, to give you the most benefit from both practices. So if you haven't met me before, I'm Rhonda Uretzky. I am a yoga teacher. I have been a yoga teacher for 50 years, which is a good part of my life. And I have to say, it has paid me back really, really well. Please don't get intimidated by this idea. If you haven't been practicing yoga for 50 years, I can guarantee you that whenever you start will be the right time for you. And how lucky are you to be starting by practicing some yoga and using these amazing acupressure products, the mat and the pillow. And I'm going to show you exactly how I use them and how I get the most benefit from them. So, as I said, I'm Rhonda Uretzky. I'm coming to you here from New Jersey. I own a yoga studio here in Lambertville, New Jersey. I've also written a book called The Blissful Warrior, and it really is about using yoga and whatever other tools that support you that you can find that will help you to feel a sense of calm in your life. Now, it's ironic, and I'm going to be full disclosure here, 50 years of practicing and using all of these processes, and here I am on a Monday afternoon feeling very overwhelmed. You know how it is, something happens and then another thing happens. I think about it like dropping marbles in a bag, right? The first marble drops in, somebody cuts you off in traffic, and then the next marble drops in and you realize you're running 10 minutes late, and so forth and so forth and so forth. And then you've got this bag full of bad feeling marbles before you even know it. So I am in that state right now where I really am feeling overwhelmed by, shitty little things that happen in life that we can all take a look at them and say, oh, these are not big problems. But, I want to encourage you to feel what you feel. If for whatever reason you're feeling overwhelmed, it's a Monday, whatever's going on in your life is weighing heavy on your mind right now, it's fine. In fact, it's wonderful to be able to say to yourself, yes, I'm busy. Yes, I don't have the time to take care of myself. Yes, I'm still going to do it. I'm still going to stop here, and I'm going to start taking those marbles out of the bag and letting this bag be lighter. And then everything in the rest of your day will benefit, especially the people that you come in contact with for the rest of today. So welcome. Join me in this practice. I'm looking forward to it as much as I hope you are, selfishly, for myself. This is a practice that I find is going to, I know, make a difference in the way the rest of my day goes. So let's start with what I'm calling a quick arrival practice. And that's basically what it sounds like. You've already had a day, no matter where you're coming from. If this is the end of the day, the beginning of the day, sometimes you wake up with things on your mind, you feel like you've already had a full day. We're just going to take all that with us and arrive here in this moment. So I'm going to encourage you to find a comfortable seated position, or if you have the luxury of being in a place where you can lie down and that feels better for you, find something that makes you feel like you're comfortably here in your body. If you're sitting on a chair, I'm going to recommend that you place both feet on the ground. This is literally a way of grounding yourself. We'll talk in more sessions about earthing and grounding and how valuable that is. But for now, just know that you have this ability at all times if you'll just place both feet on the floor. If you're sitting on the floor, not in a chair like I'm doing here, you can find, again, your comfortable position, cross-legged. Another really great position is to place your legs out in front of you and place your palms on your knees. And just as you're sitting here, lifting up from your rib cage, letting your knees bounce very gently. Very slight rocking of the body, bouncing of the body is a very, very soothing practice for your nervous system. All right. So now that you've found your comfortable position, and I hope you have some water nearby, I'm always going to encourage you to drink water. It's another fabulous way of grounding yourself. We're going to take 3 deep breaths. And these breaths will be in through the nose and out through the nose, but you're kind of imagining there's this hole in the back of your throat. And you bring the breath in through here, and it sounds like Darth Vader breathing. It's kind of what we call in yoga an ujjayi breath. And then as you exhale, same thing. Coming out through the nose, imagining though that it's coming out through a hole in the back of your throat and making that really great hollow Darth Vader kind of sound. So, let's begin. Find a comfortable place for your hands. If you're cross-legged, could be on your knees, palms up or down. If you're sitting on a chair and you've got your feet on the floor, place your palms on your thighs. And of course, if you're lying down, you can just go full on into Shavasana, lying on your back and letting your arms be at your sides, but not too close. And let's begin. Eyes open or closed. A lot of choices to make here, and all of them should only be made from the vantage point of what feels better to you. There's no right or wrong way. There's just a more soothing way for you in this moment. So, eyes open or closed or somewhere in between, and let's begin. Inhale your breath. Hear it come in through the back of your throat. Feel yourself expanding your rib cage like it's a big accordion. So the ribs go nice and wide, 180 degrees, holding it open. And then as you exhale, it's like you're playing this accordion again, the one in your rib cage, bringing the ribs in, hearing the sound come out the back of your throat until there is no more breath left. Then you're going to pause here in this state where you're not inhaling or exhaling, and drop your tailbone straight down, and then feel as if you can curl your tailbone slightly toward your navel. And again, inhale. I'm going to make the sound along with you. The ribs are wide, and the ribs are lifting towards your shoulders. So you have this open feeling in the ribs and lifted feeling in the center of your body, holding it open. And exhale. Loud ha sound through the back of your throat. Imagine yourself playing that accordion and bringing it back in. Let your tailbone drop a little and let it curl up a little. So you get this beautiful lift in the center of your body with really no effort. And again, inhale. And exhale. Drop your tailbone and feel as if it's just slightly curling toward your navel. And you'll feel that last little lift in your chest. So if you've done these 3 breaths with me, and I hope that you have, I want you to take a moment and notice emotionally if you feel different than when you first joined. I know I do. And I didn't even take the full breaths because I was talking, but I gave myself a chance to really luxuriate in it. And it's quite amazing how much control you have over your emotional state and even your physical well-being, doing very, very simple things like taking a deep breath. So maybe on a scale of 1 to 10 right now, I'd like you to give yourself a number. If 1 is, I'm very calm and chill, it's sort of like a Saturday morning instead of a Monday morning. And 10 is, I'm in this state of overwhelm, I just can't drop one more marble into my bag without it spilling over. Where would you put yourself right now? As for me, I would say I'm about a 4, which I think when I started here, I was at about a 7. So you'll begin to notice these things. And again, I don't tell you my numbers or this exercise to make you feel like you have to live up to anything. I'm just sharing with you what's possible. Okay, so hopefully you have your lotus mat and your lotus pillow with you, and we're going to lie down on that right away. So you go ahead and lie down on your mat and pillow as I readjust my camera. Try to give you a very high view so you can actually see what's going on. Oh, you got a real close-up view of my hand right there. All right, so this is where I'm going to be lying down, and I think you'll be able to see me well from here. Okay, so getting onto your lotus mat and lotus pillow, I always recommend that when you're lowering yourself down onto it, try not to kind of lift yourself up and plop yourself down. It feels like the opposite of when you're peeling something up. You want to be sort of peeling yourself down onto these mats and pillows so that you get the full benefit of the relaxation feeling and not the jolt that can sometimes happen when you slam down onto anything. So here's how we're going to do it. Gently lower yourself onto your lotus mat, and you can have the lotus mat either under your butt or at your hips. Bring your legs out in front of you, place your palms on your knees, sitting up nice and tall with your rib cage lifting towards your shoulders, and let's give the legs a little bounce. It's more like a flutter of the knees than a bounce, right? It's very gentle. And we'll just keep this going for maybe 15 seconds. So get that really nice bouncy feeling. And then stop. And when you stop, flex your feet. Brace with your arms. So your arms are locked, your collarbones are wide, you're looking down at your toes. Inhale your breath. And as you exhale, you're going to gently lower yourself down one vertebra at a time. Keep your arms locked. Keep looking at your toes. You want to feel every part of your spine lowering itself down. And you'll notice that I'm not actually hitting the pillow in the place that I want, which is behind my neck. So here's the time to adjust it. And then you're all the way down. Let me just check on the view. Great, all right, I can see you guys, you can see me. So I probably won't be looking at you guys much at this point. I'll be looking down into the poses, but I think this is a good full view for you to be able to see what's going on with your body here. Okay, so again, your choice. Try this pillow in a variety of ways. It can be under the back of your neck on the horizontal. It can be under the back of your head. And this will tend to keep your head more centered on your neck in the horizontal, or you can try it vertically. Now, if you're new to using the lotus mat or the lotus pillow, this on the vertical actually feels the softest. Just because it's softer doesn't mean you're not getting tremendous benefits, so please don't push yourself to use this mat or pillow in any way that feels uncomfortable, and try to get this new idea into your mind. The more comfort you feel, the deeper benefits you're receiving. Right? So we are the opposite here of no pain, no gain. We don't believe in that here. We believe in no pain, all comfort. Okay, so as you inhale your breath, you're going to roll your knees in towards each other and lock your legs by lifting your quads. So these are your quads right here. Just imagine you're sort of trying to suck your quads up into your hips. Then squeezing your legs together, gently bend both knees, and you're going to lower your soles onto your lotus mat, starting with your toes, the balls of your feet, your arches, and your heels, and readjust. You almost want to feel like you're grazing your lotus mat rather than sinking into it in a hard way. All right. So we're going to do some wonderful rocking things for the hips. Separate your feet about hip width distance. Now notice when you're on your lotus mat, every time you lift your leg, you're going to feel more pressure of the lotus petals against that part of your body that's pressing to it. So try to be very gentle and light about lifting parts of your body off this lotus mat. All right. So inhale with your knees here at center. And as you exhale, let your knees fall to the left, but keep your soles on the lotus mat. Keep your hips on the lotus mat. It's like a very luxurious feeling of just leaning your knees over. And then inhale, knees to center again. I feel something behind my head here that doesn't feel comfortable, so I'm going to feel free to adjust, as I hope you will. As you exhale, let your knees fall to the right. It's a very light kind of movement because your hips are still very stable on the mat and your soles are as well. Inhale, knees to center. Your chin is tucked and you're glancing at your knees as you exhale and they fall to the left. Keeping your soles on the mat, keeping your hips on the mat. And then inhale, knees to center. And on the exhale, letting your knees lean to the right. Soles flat, hips flat. Now you're going to do this at your own pace, remembering to apply the breath to the movement. So when your knees are pointing towards the ceiling, you're inhaling. And as your knees fall to one side or the other, you'll be exhaling. And sometimes the exhale feels very luxurious and you want to linger here for a little while. As long as your soles are flat and your hips are flat, you can linger here. And you can be in the part of your exhale where there's no breath left. And that feels curiously relaxing. Doesn't feel like you're gasping for breath at all. So noticing as I inhale, the knees are at center. And as I exhale, letting the knees fall to the opposite side. And you'll take this at your own pace, but I do recommend that the pace be very slow and gentle. You're being very mindful about coordinating the breath with the movement, so naturally it's a very slow, gentle thing. It's wonderful for focusing your mind. You're going to begin to notice that if you focus your mind on the movement and the breath, coordinating both, and really milking it for the best possible feeling you can have in your body right now, it will be hard for you to think about whatever got you triggered into overwhelm or whatever worries might be on your mind otherwise. This is a really beautiful benefit of mindfulness. You know, oftentimes we're taught mindfulness as a way to focus. So we humans, what do we end up doing? Well, we focus on a task, or we focus on a problem or a task that needs to be done. So that's just applying a whole lot more attention to something that doesn't feel good. But true mindfulness is really about being in the present moment. And in this present moment, your worries about the future, your thoughts about the past, they aren't present. What's present is your body and your breath. And as soon as you are in this mindful present moment, everything feels much different, much calmer, much more like you are actually back here in your body and back here in the present moment. So, I'm going to say stop. And next time your knees are at center, that's where you'll stop, but try not to come to a hard stop. Try to make it feel like you were just driving and you took your foot off the gas, and now the car is sort of rolling itself to a bit of a stop. You'll notice it's slowing down on its own, and then take a breath. Okay, now I'm going to practice what I preach. I'm going to move the lotus mat further down onto my butt and onto my hips. And notice that I took my feet off the lotus mat to do it, so that I didn't press down into the feet and push the hips deeper into the pedals. And then I'm going to replace my feet. So now, this lotus mat is more under my glutes than under my hips. And for whatever reason, this just feels better to me in this moment. Okay, so we're going to go a little bit deeper in this beautiful mindfulness. And, you know, in addition to it being mindful and really good for calming the nervous system, you can really feel how your hips love this. Inhale, knees at center. And now on the exhale, you're going to let your knees both fall to the left. Now it's okay to come off the soles of your feet onto the edges of your feet. Let your right hip feel like a marble that's rolling. Now, if you are an exercise person, or even if you're a yoga person, there might be a tendency for you to want to push your knees down. I've seen people reach up with their hands and pull. None of that here. You're just going to allow your knees to come to a place where it feels like they're sort of hanging in midair. And you're going to allow gravity to do the rest of the work for you. Inhale, Slowly bring your knees back to center, and you'll be able to feel your soles coming back flat to the lotus petals. And on the next exhale, let both knees lean to the right. So this right about here is where I'm not pushing my knees down, nor am I holding them up. This is just where they're hanging when they're in their most relaxed state. Notice if you do this, they won't be able to stay there very long. Gravity is going to take over. But it's a very luxurious kind of a stretch as opposed to pulling or forcing. And remember what I said, these are the stretches that resonate, the ones that get deep into your body and your psyche, as opposed to forcing things. And again, inhale, knees to center. One more time. As you exhale, just imagine these legs like two heavy 2x4s, big pieces of, long pieces of wood that are just leaning against a very unstable fence. So as they lean against this fence, the fence starts to go, and the wood starts to go, and it all feels very relaxing. Now, in this state, inhale your breath. Keep your collarbones pulled wide so both shoulder blades are on the mat. And on your exhale, begin to pull with your tailbone, as if you want your tailbone to go between your heels, all the way between your toes, right? You feel something happening in your lower back that feels really great. And then at the very end, just sort of let the tailbone curl toward your navel. And again, inhale, knees to center. Settling your soles on the lotus petals. And on the next exhale, letting both knees fall to the right. You put them in a position where you're no longer holding them up and you're not pulling them down. And notice what happens. Notice how all the forces of the universe, gravity and everything else around you is supporting you are getting deeper into this pose. You don't have to work against anything, not even your own body. So, inhale your breath, collarbones wide. And on the exhale, begin to pull. I don't know if you can see it on me, but pulling the tailbone, as if I can make that tailbone touch my heel. You'll be able to feel this all the way up through the left side of your body, under your ribs. Then point your tailbone a little toward your navel, a little curl. And then again, as you inhale, bring the soles back to the mat, the knees back to the ceiling. And when I say stop, you're going to come to that sort of rolling stop. Not so much a hard stop, just let the knees find their own rolling stop. And here we are in what's called an articulated Shavasana, with your knees bent, collarbones wide, palms facing up, chin tucked towards that little hollow space between your collarbones. And we'll go back to a deep accordion ribs inhale, widening your accordion out. And then as you exhale, bring your accordion back, feeling the ribs meet right there in the center of your body, trying to hold this long note on the accordion, hearing that ha sound in the back of your throat until you are completely out of exhale. And then once again, point your tailbone between your heels and feel it curl a little toward your navel. Okay. So now we're going to move up into the upper body, and we do something really wonderful for the shoulders, the neck, the traps. So as you inhale, just raise your soles lightly so that you're brushing the lotus petals instead of pressing into them. And begin to straighten your legs, bringing them out with your heels touching and your toes flopped apart. So now maybe you'll feel the glutes on the lotus mat, the backs of the legs, the sides of the legs. We're just going to let the whole lower part of your body rest here and let the lotus petals do their wonderful acupressure work while we go up into the upper body. Okay, so once again, I find myself wanting to move this lotus mat a little higher. So again, feet on the sides of the mat and not on top of the pedals, lifting, pulling a little bit, easing myself back down, and then once again, legs out, heels touching, and toes dropped apart. All right, as you inhale, turn your palms to the ground and sweep your arms into a big T. Good, I think you can see that here. Wonderful. Now on the exhale, bend your right elbow and place your right thumb in front of your nose, with your right elbow tip pulling to the left a little bit. Feels like it's right there at your navel. And then bend your left elbow and with your left palm, cup around your right elbow. All right, inhale your breath. Pull your shoulders down and pull your elbow tips off your body. Now on the exhale, you're going to guide with your left elbow tip directly to the left. And feel like there's a little resistance from the right elbow wanting to go to the right. Not a whole lot. It's as if you're training a puppy, right? And so this is the leash around the puppy's collar, and you want the puppy to go in the direction you want it to go, but you don't want to drag the little puppy, right? You're being gentle but firm. Great. Keep your shoulders down. And on your next inhale, now you're going to give that puppy free rein. You're going to let the leash go slack, and the puppy runs to the right. It bounces a little bit. It's like a joyful feeling. Let's try it again. So inhale, starting with the thumb in the center of your face, your elbow tip pulling to the left a little bit, shoulders down and elbows off your body. And as you exhale, leading with the left elbow, take this little puppy for a walk down a very narrow street to the left. Sometimes you have to readjust that leash on the collar, feeling the puppy resist, but you know this little puppy's no match for you. You get it to go the way you want it to go. And on your next inhale, let the leash go slack. The puppy will run. Now drop both arms to your sides in a big thud and take a breath. Inhale. Always with the rib cage and always hearing that sound in the back of your throat, this wonderful Ujjayi breathing. So once again, I feel moved to change the position of my lotus pillow. I'm going to put it vertically behind my head. Oh, there are certain places like this one, certain times where you'll adjust something and your whole body, your whole being feels like sighing. Something is just right with the world again. All right, let's do the other side. So inhale, turn your palms over, sweep your arms out into a big T and pull with your wrists. Then bend your left elbow, place your left thumb in front of your nose, left elbow tip pulling a little to the right. Bend your right elbow with your right palm. You're going to cup your left elbow, hold the leash tight. Inhale, shoulders down, elbows are away from your body. And on the exhale, guiding with your right elbow tip towards the right side of your room, dragging a little bit, feeling the resistance of the left arm. Just enough for it to feel like a very luxurious movement. Right? No forcing, no pulling, no real strain or effort here. Just a really nice kind of a luxury is the best word. And then on your next inhale, let the puppy run. Right? You let the leash go slack. And one more time. Thumb in front of the nose. Left elbow really towards your navel. But to get it towards your navel, you have to move it to the right a little bit. Shoulders down, elbow tips away from your body, chin tucked. Inhale your breath. Ribs go wide. The exhale, using your right elbow tip to guide this little puppy down a very narrow street to your right. If you use weights, if you do any workouts with weights, this is heavenly for your shoulders, your traps, and your neck. And then again on your next inhale, let the leash go slack. Puppy runs. And then Drop both arms. Now we'll be in a full Shavasana. Heels are touching. Toes are flopped open like you have a big V between your feet. Arms are at your sides, not too close to your body. Palms face up, fingers relaxed. Tuck your chin towards the little hollow between your collarbones. Drop your lower back, like you're sinking your lower back into somebody's hand. And we'll take a breath. Inhale. Hear that loud ha sound in the back of your throat as you inhale through your nose. Make your rib cage a wide accordion. And then on the exhale, let the ribs meet. Wait until you get to a place where there's no more breath left to exhale, and let your lower back sink, dropping really luxuriously, and then let your tailbone do a little pulling towards your heels and then up toward your knee. Okay. 2 poses, 2 wonderful ways to use your lotus mat for lower body, upper body, entire nervous system. So now, how to get off your lotus mat, right? There's a wonderful way that you don't want to jolt yourself up or down onto your lotus mat or into any yoga poses. So you inhale and roll your knees in towards each other and sweep your arms up against the sides of your lotus mat. And feel as if someone is pulling you from the wrists and the ankles. So you have this very long, lengthened feeling in your body. Now, as you exhale, bend your elbows and place your hands in prayer position in front of your chest. One knee at a time. Bend your right knee. Place the sole of your right foot on the lotus petals, toes first, ball of the foot, arch and heel. And then the left knee, bending it, placing the sole on the lotus petals. And again, start at the toes, not digging, just landing. Ball of the foot, arch and heel. Tuck your chin to your throat. Inhale your breath. Now you're going to rise off your heels together. And the balls of the feet and the toes and knees to your chest. Tuck your chin to your throat. And on the exhale, you're going to roll your entire body to the right and off your lotus mat and pillow. And tucking in. Inhale your breath. Turn your palms to the ground and looking at the backs of your hands. And as you exhale, keeping your eyes on the backs of your hands, you're going to bring yourself back up into a comfortable seated position. Okay, not comfortable if you can't see my head, so I'm going to lower this just a little bit. Maybe even a little bit more. Here we are. Okay, find your comfortable seated position. Now, for me, a comfortable seated position is to actually be sitting on my lotus pillow. I know this seems aggressive, and in the beginning, when you're using your lotus mat or pillow for the first time, you can place a little thin sheet over it. It's perfectly fine. Remember, we're going for comfort. Comfort is how you get the most benefits, not effort or struggle. So if you want to try this, if you're sitting in a chair or you're sitting on the ground, I have many of my yoga students who use their lotus pillow when they're driving in their cars. They sit on the lotus pillow and they notice a tremendous difference in the way their hips feel after driving. So you can experiment with all of this. So I'm going to be sitting directly on my lotus pillow right here. I'm going to come back to 3 deep breaths. So again, finding your comfortable position. If you're in a chair, soles of the feet on the ground, palms in your lap. If you're on the floor, you can sit cross-legged. You can sit with your legs out and bouncing. And we'll just arrive. Let's go ahead again and take 3 deep breaths. So inhale, collarbones wide. Chin is dropped a little towards the hollow of your throat and your ribs begin their accordion-like expansion. You're hearing that loud sound in your throat. And here, hold yourself open. Feels like you're opening up a Supergirl cape. And as you exhale, slowly bringing the ribs back, hearing the loud ha sound in your throat, letting the ribs feel as if they've met right in the center line of your body. And when you have no more exhale left, drop your tailbone straight down and curl it slightly up. And again, inhale. Collarbones wide, ribs wide, exhale. Hoping my microphone is allowing you to hear that Darth Vader sound that I feel is so loud. And one more time, inhale. And exhale. Loud ha sound as you feel your ribs drawing together. And then you can let your tailbone be like a little arrow that points straight down, and then the tip of that arrow will curl up toward your neck. Okay, and here you are. So I want to invite you once again to check in on yourself on the emotional scale. From 1 to 10. 1 is, I'm very chill, nothing can bother me right now. And 10 is very strung out, very stressed, really triggered, and give yourself a number. So I'm going to acknowledge that I have now dropped to a 2. Now, it doesn't always happen. You know, sometimes whatever it is that's overwhelming or triggering, you can just get to a 9 or an 8. But I promise you, anything below 10 will benefit you. So just notice where you are, acknowledge where you are, and feel good about it. No number is better than the other. Only the mindful acknowledgement of where you are. And the acceptance, the self-acceptance of being where you are. That's what's really going to benefit you. So thank you, really thank you for doing this practice with me today, giving me a reason to do this practice. You know, look, I'm not that different than you. If my day is overwhelmed, I also tend to say to myself, yeah, I'll take a break in 10 minutes. Or let me just do this one more thing and then I'll take a break. And then before you know it, it's 5 o'clock or the sun is setting and you haven't taken a break at all. But I appreciate being accountable to you and having to be here at 12:30 or 12:45 to do this practice that I committed to sharing with you. It's tremendously beneficial for me. So thank you very much. So on that note, I'd like to leave you with a reading from my book, The Blissful Warrior. Oftentimes, this is my book, called The Blissful Warrior, Living the Paradox of Peace and Passion for Today's Empowered Woman. Of course, it makes sense for men too, but comes from a woman's point of view. So I'm going to open this book to any reading that comes up and trust that it's the one that you need to hear for today, and maybe the one I need to hear for today. So I'm going to grab my glasses, make sure that I can read it. Okay. This is called Blissfully Broken. When I ask my women yoga students, what does a complete state of healing feel like? Almost everyone agrees. A complete healing is a state of complete peace. It all comes down to this. How much love am I willing to let in right now? It's a good question to ask yourself. Even when you're really pissed off at somebody, even when you're at a 10, that question, am I willing to come from love, or am I just going to stay in fear? Not for anybody else, for yourself. And that's why you're here in this practice, for yourself. I encourage you, I invite you to be very, very selfish and take very good care of the one self that you have. Thanks again for joining me in this practice. Realize you don't have to be here live. These practices will live here on the Facebook page. Come back to them whenever you want. Come back to them often. It's fun to do the same thing over and over again. Trust me. It's not like boring at all. It becomes deeper and deeper in your state of awareness of yourself. So feel free to do these over and over again, but I will be here every Monday offering you some new insights on using your lotus mat with gentle yoga. I don't call this restorative yoga. I call this yoga for today's stressful times. Thanks again. I'm Rhonda Uretzky. I will see you next Monday. By the way, one more thing. Feel free to comment about anything you'd like me to address in these sessions, whether it's physical or emotional, something you'd like to learn how to manage better. I'm here for you. Be well, everyone. Enjoy the rest of your day. I can almost guarantee that you will now that you've done this practice for yourself. See you next week.